The call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Pod at the Palace post-game report card and player grades following Arkansas' 79-72 win over Kansas in the NCAA tournament to advance to the round of 32 on Saturday. I'm Curtis Wilkerson, joined by Andrew Ellis. We're here at Union Station Brewing still in Providence following our post-game show, which was electric. We got to talk about this. We got to grade it out, right? I mean, this is a vibe situation here that we're dealing with, but we still got to get back to the academics of this basketball game and grade out what we saw from the Razorbacks today.
We talk about this a lot. You know, we get the post-game, the raw, instant reaction where you get to see our emotional side. You get to see, we wear our heart on our sleeve. Now this is where we wear our brain on our sleeve. And, normally we have like time to gather our thoughts and really get in the right state of mind. But I think you'd agree. We're like just absolutely. And when I say buzzing, I don't mean like we're drunk. I'm saying like we're just buzzing from like life, Yes. We're on such an emotional high. I might like look a little tired, but like I'm not sleeping tonight. There's not a chance I'm sleeping tonight. I'm so fired up. I love the Hogs, and I just love watching ball with my boys.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself, an A+, obviously. John Calipari getting the dub in his first NCAA tournament opportunity with the Razorbacks, an A+, obviously. The night, the vibes, an A+, obviously. Let's talk about these players, though, real quick. Listen, I always start with the, you know how it is. I always start with the MVP, and there's only one who gets an A+. Maybe there will be two tonight since there's two of us here, but I kind of feel like we're going to land on the same guy. Jonas Adu, man. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. 22 points in this game, and he was doing it against an All-American in Hunter Dickinson. 10 of 19 from the field. He had 5 rebounds. He did a lot of stuff on the defensive end of the floor as well. He was all over the place, and Jonas looked like a better version of Tennessee Jonas in this game. He looked like a borderline All-American with the way that he was playing. Kansas had no answer. Well, they did have an answer. It was, shit, we can't guard him, so we better switch to a zone real quick, because when they got Hunter Dickinson involved in those ball screens and he was short rolling, catching around the free throw line, soft touch, he was doing the Justin Smith, right? That little push shot, that little floater from about 12 feet. It was just absolutely automatic in there. He was really, really freaking good, dominant, and it was so good to see, so validating for Jonas, who's gone through it with injuries and everything else to get back to this point. It's his last freaking year, like he can't run it back. And, Arkansas, he was a big part of why they were able to get back into the NCAA tournament after kind of being left for dead with his reemergence there. And then he gets here and he effectively wins them a basketball game. Really, really good stuff from Jonas.
I mean, it's crazy because you had Bill Self coming into this game saying, hey, we want to run things through Hunter Dickinson, which clearly they did. He got up 4 shots in the first 2 minutes. They wanted to do that. And Hunter Dickinson was not the best big man in this game. Jonas is, of course, my A+ as well. I thought he was the best player in this game. And the numbers do a lot to tell the story. I mean, he led everyone in scoring, 22 points. The 3 blocks, 3 steals are what really clinched it for him, because Nelly Davis is the other guy that you'd consider. He was freaking awesome in this game. I think he has a very strong case to being the best player in this game. I give the nod to Aidoo because of just the work he had to do defensively. Not that Nelly didn't have work on the defense, because he was great as well. But Aidoo just completely set the tone. And I think it just speaks to, like we were talking about earlier today, there's so many different versions of this Razorback team. We've only seen this Arkansas runs offense through Jonas Adu version for like 10 days. It's not been anything. Like, there's not a ton of footage that you can find out there for Kansas to prepare for this particular game. Like, you look at this Arkansas team and you see, what Nelly Davis can, where he can hurt you, what he's capable of, how DJ Wagner plays. Hell, even Boogie, I'm sure they went through a heavy Boogie film session where they're like, hey, this is how he can hurt us. There's not a ton of Jonas Adu running the entire, being Jokic in the middle of this Arkansas offense. Every time he caught the ball in the middle of that, I mean, what's funny is when they were running the zone, like you said, they finally decided to have him in the middle of it.
Yes.
They weren't even in the zone, but he was just getting to that mid-range, that kind of that free throw line in. The floater was unreal. He made some tough shots. I liked every single shot that he took. I was like, that's a good look. 5 rebounds kind of surprises me, but yeah, just overall two-way impact. I felt like he got everyone involved in the game as well. You know how we always say, like, it's one thing if you shoot a corner 3, but it's we pass it around the perimeter and it ends in the corner 3. If you go in and then out, it's such a big deal. And it just changes. It makes the defense force and makes them react. That look you like a lot more. Jonas was the key to Arkansas getting any look they wanted in the first half.
I never in a million years would thought that I would reach the point where I was just okay and felt good about a Jonas Adu 17-foot jumper.
Oh, yeah.
But tonight I was like, sure, man.
He took a spot up one. He took a spot up one down on the baseline. And I was like, cool.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Be my guest, man, for sure. Unbelievable. Yeah, very, very deserved MVP honors. But you mentioned John L. Davis, who is a guy who had a very good case of being the best player on the floor. And you're absolutely right. This is what it's all about. I mean, you brought in a guy who has led a team to a Final Four. He's been to multiple NCAA tournaments. So you kind of expected this, but this wasn't the version of Nelly that you got most of the season. I know he had the wrist injury and everything. It took him a while to figure stuff out. And he has lately, but then they got to the SEC tournament, and we were kind of wondering about some of the decision making. It was like, what the heck happened at the free throw line against South Carolina? Was it you? Was it Cal? I don't know. And then we had the deal where he went early against Ole Miss, where you should have probably taken the last shot, but you didn't. And then, it's like, did he travel? They didn't really call it.
Yeah.
Well,
he got called for one today, by the way.
Exactly. And so he's balling in this game, knocked down just some clutch threes, did some really good stuff. He finishes with 18 points. He was 4 of 9 from 3. That is big time from Nelly Davis. But what really stood out to me the most is he did get called for that travel. He hit a huge 3 to put Arkansas up by 4. After
when
they
he
were
hit the
down.
3, that's when I was like, Arkansas won.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And they had a chance to put the game away. He gets called for the travel, and you're like, oh, that's not good. Like, is this going to get next possession? He comes up with a steal, gets fouled, 2 free throws, bada boom, bada bing, we're good. Then he's the guy that they get the ball into when they were trying to break the press for like 15 minutes in real time with like 3 different timeouts. They finally got it into him, and he knocks down the clutch free throws. I thought he was awesome. I give him an A.
100%. A. I mean, it has to be the B. You can argue A+, but like A is the bear. Like, it has to be there. And I think he reached that A status for sure. It feels like there's been so many wins down the stretch here, so many big wins that have helped Arkansas get to this point and now helping them excel past this point have ended with John L. Davis at the free throw line. It seems. He's statistically been great at the line. It seems like he's kind of the guy that, like you said, in these crunch time moments, and he's had some miscues, but he's just been involved heavily. And so I loved his shot selection. It reminded me a lot, Curtis. You remember early in the year when we were like, Nelly might just be Klay Thompson. He's the floppy guy, which we saw a few different. We saw Boogie being used as the floppy guy a little bit tonight, which I thought was interesting. But like, we were like, that's just going to be his role. Like, he's just going to shoot spot up threes, and he's going to shoot it at a high volume. 9 3-point attempts, 4 of 9 in this game where Arkansas goes 6 of 24 from 3. Holy cow! A guy goes 4 for 9. That the weight of those shots that he made, the timing of it. There was a point where when he made his second bucket, maybe his first 3, and they showed he was 2 for 2, and it was like at the 6-minute mark in the first half. And I'm like, damn, dude, like, you've only taken 2 shots. He was almost like too passive, but he knew exactly when he needed to step up for this team. And to see him do it on this stage, this is why you pay the bag. This is why you bring him in for this type of moment. Can he cash his
damn NIL check now?
Yeah,
are we okay with that? Like,
jeez.
Oh, man. Okay. Trevon Brazil.
Yeah.
What a guy, man. Yeah, I'm so happy for Trevon. 11 points, 12 rebounds. He had another double-double in this game. He overcame. He had foul trouble again, so he set out a good portion of the first half, but did the thing where he comes back in the second half and winds up with a double-double. It was incredible. I want you to go first, so give your grade and everything, and I'll piggyback off of you.
Well, so Trevon goes 1 of 5 from the 3. I think he hit his first one, if I'm correct. He made the first bucket of the game for Arkansas. Ends up 4 for 9, so it's like not even a good shooting game. We always kind of say he's like the 2 for 3, the 4 for 5. Yeah. He has a lot of those games, and most of his shot attempts are usually obviously assisted. I loved all the 3s. Like, I was cool with it, and like I said earlier, when Trevon hits a 3, this Arkansas team becomes harder to guard, like 5% harder to guard right off the bat. And you could see every time he caught the ball on the perimeter, Kansas was like, having a guy there, they were putting a hand, like they were reacting. It just opens things up for other guys. And Trevon is so good about just kind of almost lulling teams to sleep because he's not one of those guys that touches the ball on every possession. He's not one of those guys that's constantly in the mix of it. You're not drawing plays up for Trevon Brazil. He just seems to have a knack. He has a nose for just making plays that help Arkansas win. He finds a little lane. He gets a back door, gets the lob. He hits a 3 that he's open for. He makes a nice chase down block or something. He had a couple. He had 2 steals, 1 block in this game. Some action on the defensive end. The rebounding is what we talked about on the post game.
Man.
He just, in the second half, it was like he just had a different sense of urgency. He ends up with 5 offensive rebounds, and I don't believe Arkansas won the rebounding battle. I think it was close to even. I don't think either team really dominated the boards here in this game. but Trevon helped keep Arkansas in it. Yeah, they lose it by 4.
They
And
won the offensive
5
rebounding battle, though.
Right,
Yeah.
because of him having 5. Like, that's a big deal, man. And so I thought he's well, at this point in Trevon's career, he knows exactly who he is,
Yes,
and what he's capable of doing and how he can help this team. It's just so cool to see him go out there and do it, man. I thought he was really effective in his minutes, 27 of them.
Yeah, he was awesome. Did you give him A?
I don't know if I've given
A
no,
for Trevon?
I'm gonna go A. And
Yeah.
the reason I'm going A and not A- is because he didn't do anything bad.
Yeah.
He had one turnover in this game, which I don't remember what that was. I don't know if it was like a pass.
Neither
or
really. Yeah.
Whatever. Again, he goes 1 of 5 from 3. Sure, yeah, I'd prefer him make a second 3 so he's 40%, but like I was cool with the attempt. You know what I mean? Like I remember I bet there was a couple times where he took a 3 and missed it, and Kansas is like, damn, we can never let that happen again. Like, we didn't feel good in that moment. And even then, I feel like he just continues to have that threat. And so I'm going A just because I don't feel like he did really anything to negatively impact Arkansas at any point in this game.
I agree. No, I thought he was absolutely awesome. In fact, I know he got 2 fouls early in the first half, but once they got to about the 6-minute mark of the half, I was getting ready to tweet out. I was like, I wonder if John Calipari should maybe consider playing him with 2 fouls because they were getting crushed on the glass at that point. You had, poor Carter Knox. He's like trying to guard KJ Adams in there. It's just not fair on that end of the floor. So, Arkansas's getting killed on the boards. It's like, maybe they should just put him back in. But when they did in the second half, he was freaking awesome, man. So I'm really happy for TB. I said on the postgame show, I felt like he's just jumping on a trampoline. Everybody else is on hardwood. He's skying up there for those offensive rebounds, man. Really, really impressive stuff. And I'm pumped for him. Yeah, I'm giving him an A as well. He is, it's just crazy the swings of guys on this basketball team where he, has gone from a guy who, like the end of non-conference play, like December-ish, we were like, wow, like Trevon's really starting to come around. Like he's starting to embrace his role. This is cool. Had a large stretch here in SEC play where we're like, what the hell is going on? And then now it's like, you can't take this dude off the floor. So
100%.
Good on him for balling out the way that he has. I do want to double back real quick to Jonas Adu because we get so caught up in like individual player stuff. But a big part of this too is Hunter Dickinson didn't score in the second half of this basketball game. And Jonas Adu gets a ton of credit for that. He worked his ass off on that end of the floor. When these two met last season, when he was at Tennessee and Hunter was obviously at Kansas and Maui, Hunter had a big game, 17 points, 20 rebounds. Jonas was fine. He had 8 points and 11 boards and 3 blocks and 3 steals or whatever. He absolutely dominated this matchup. There was no doubt that he was the best post player on the floor in this game for Arkansas.
4 for 13 is crazy for Hunter Dickinson, who's like,
crazy,
most of his shot attempts are like high percentage looks. 4 for 13, like that's not no 6'2" guard.
Exactly
that's a
right.
big dude. That's a 7-footer basically going 4 for 13. That's crazy.
Yeah. Carter Knox, this is an interesting one because he if you look at it, okay, he had 6 points. He was 2-3 from the floor there. He only played 16 minutes, but he was in some foul trouble too. And he was just, I felt like Carter was put in tough spots almost all night because like he came out of the game and right from the start, he had the cut, they hit him, and he got the dunk. That might have been Arkansas's first basket or the second basket.
Was the first basket,
but right away he got that. That was good to see. And then the second half, early on, he got involved where he took the baseline drive and just a really strong finish, and all of a sudden Arkansas was up by 7. The points that he got in there, he freaking earned them, man. And so that was good to see from Carter. I thought he did some good stuff. He was just put in such a tough spot on the defensive end of the floor because he is 6'6" and he's 220. He's got some meat on his bones, and it's like, damn, Trevon's got 2 fouls. Z kind of stinks tonight. He's got 2 fouls. Carter, good luck. Here's KJ Adams, who looks like an NFL defensive end, and he's the most athletic guy in the Big 12. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's like he was kind of playing out of position and everything the entire night. So, like, you look at his stat sheet and you go, okay, whatever. But I thought he made a positive impact while he was in there for Arkansas. In fact, there were times when another player was on the floor where I was like, can we get Carter back in there or Boogie or somebody? Like, what are we doing? I still think that I definitely want to see a Carter Knox breakout type of game in the NCAA tournament. I'm still going to give him a B for what he did in this game. Like I thought he was.
Wow, we got a
solid.
disagreement, Curtis. We got a disagreement here.
Okay.
I'm a little bit harder on Knox.
Harder on Knox?
Hard Knox. It's a Hard Knocks life.
Hard Knocks
it really
life?
is.
Okay.
I'm giving the lad a C+.
You give him a C+ when they won an NCAA tournament game?
I am, and here's
you must
why,
not know
Curtis.
how this works.
One bulletin board material. I'm trying to fire up the young lad. I wasn't super pleased with Arkansas's 2 freshmen tonight, both of which I'm sure we're going to talk about, of course. Carter, and like you said, he has the moment. He always has moments. He's kind of like Brazil in the way that most games, it's not like he does a ton in a good way. Like he's not one of those guys that's like super involved in the offense. They're not running plays for him either. But usually he has a lot of those games where what is he like 4 for 6,
right?
4 for 8 or whatever, and he's just like super efficient, decisive. I mean, he had that stretch in conference play where he's like 12 points every game, and it was on like 5 of 7. Like he was just very consistent at knowing his role and being good. And he had a little bit of that. I mean, he goes 2 for 3 from the floor. Didn't force things offensively. There were just a couple. One, the fouls. I mean, one is like tough that he was in foul trouble, but also it's like doesn't help his case. The 3 turnovers. The one that really sticks out to me is when I think he maybe even got a steal and had it in transition and ends up getting called for a charge and just like a little bit out of
call. But
it was a bullshit call. I know it definitely was. But that was like a frustrating moment for me where I was like, oh man, like really. And Cal spoke about that at halftime whenever they asked him, like, or I don't know if it was halftime. It was one of those. They interview the coaches at weird times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a very bizarre thing. But
like an NBA
I remember
thing,
reading
right.
that he said something about like when we get opportunities in transition, gotta make the most of it. I feel like he had a few negatives and just didn't. I don't like that he didn't take a 3, and he's had a few games where he maybe takes 1 3. I kind of feel like he needs to be more of a threat. Like the teams need to know they need to respect him. I feel like kind of the same way with TB. I mean, I know I'm comparing him to TB a lot here. When Carter hits a 3, I feel like it's kind of an eye opener for other teams where they're like, holy cow, like there's 5 guys that we really got to guard. And like you said, he made when he was decisive, when he did decide to make a play, he made them for the most part. He had some good buckets, but I wish he were had that floor spacing feel to him. But he is doing some good things. I just felt like this wasn't like a Pete Carter Knox game.
No, not a Pete Carter Knox game. I don't give anything below a B- when they win an NCAA tournament game. Like I just can't. I can't do that to him. I'm very tempted with somebody we're getting ready to talk about in a few minutes.
I was gonna say, I feel like you're gonna have to, given one of the names that we have not discussed yet, you're gonna have to give a little something.
No,
let's talk about DJ first.
Yeah,
right?
let's talk about DJ, man. Good on him because at the press conference the day before, I just appreciate his honesty about how much he was affected by that loss to Oakland when he was in Kentucky last year, and like how motivated he is to kind of right that wrong and everything. He looked to me absolutely dialed in this game, man. And his leadership out there on the floor, I thought really showed. And he made some big time. But he's better than DeJuan Harris.
Yeah,
he's just better than him.
Who was good in the second half, by the way.
Who was good in the second half. But so I was really impressed with DJ, man. 14 points, 5 of 12 from the field. I'm trying to think about the shots that he missed in there. I guess he's 1 of 4 from 3. But man, I thought he was strong going downhill, and he kept his balance. Sometimes when he gets downhill, he'll kind of like turn his body and his shoulders, and he's kind of floating away from the basket, and he's doing the left hand thing. And you just know it's not going to go in. But I thought he did a pretty good job of like jump stopping, going off of 2 feet, finishing for the most part. I thought he was good defensively. I was really impressed with DJ. Man, 6 assists and only 2 turnovers. Hell, shit, he played 40 minutes. I'm giving him an A.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page here.
Okay, 40 minutes. I didn't realize he played the whole game.
I'm glad we're on the same page here because I was going to kind of overcompensate by giving DJ a very high grade. But then you give him the same grade.
Right.
I was going to go A- or A for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm going A because the two-way impact is kind of always there. He's a guy, I mean, the 40 minutes, and he's running the point. He's running the offense. He's involved every single possession, guarding the ball defensively. Like, those are not like minutes where he's like Carter Knox playing 40 minutes is one thing because he's basically a 3-and-D guy where he's just out there when he's defending one-on-one. Yeah, but it's not like he's really exerting a ton of energy most of the time. I mean, that's unfair to say that he's not exerting energy, but DJ's just very involved
on ball.
It's just a very different responsibility. He takes 12 shots, has 14 points. Like, so I guess you'd kind of knock and say, 41.7%, not that great. But like you were saying, all the looks were pretty good. I thought he did a good job of just putting pressure on the defense. The only play that sticks out to me is that stupid turnover he had with DeJuan Harris, where it's like, back-to-back. Harris knocked it out of bounds, and then right after
Stop trying to go to Carter.
Has a lazy pass, at the perimeter and just gives an easy look there. That was like the only play that really annoyed me.
Right.
But outside of that, I mean, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, even with that, just does a really good job being that floor general, kind of dictating the pace. And I feel like Arkansas was in control of the pace more so than Kansas was. Like Arkansas was content to play at the speeds they played in both halves, and DJ was a very big part of Arkansas kind of assessing and playing their way through this game. He just steadies this ship and did enough in the scoring department. Like I said, you was getting downhill a good bit. Mm-hmm. Even some of those tough looks that didn't quite go at the rim, it's like I like that. I think a couple of them might have even been cleaned up. some of those misses where he brings the guy over and stuff like that.
Right.
1 of 4 from 3. I like the one he makes. Like, I'm cool. That's four attempts is about right for him. He made his free throws. I was very, very pleased with DJ Wagner. I thought he looked like a much more composed guy who like we say with all these guys, wanted to be on this stage, and you could tell it meant something to him. And so it's cool to see him get rewarded.
Yeah. I'm pumped for DJ there. He made his free throws, in crunch time, and he really impressed me with his leadership down the stretch there.
I love that you brought up how like he admitted it, how it affected him. Why would it not affect him? Like, wouldn't it be weird if he's like, no, I literally never thought about that.
Yeah.
I never think about the biggest game I've ever played in.
And I do. I appreciate the honesty, man, because a lot of times you would ask that question and we all know what the real answer is, but I guess we're like, I'm focused on this year and this game. Like, I don't know what I'm thinking about. He's like, oh man, it sucked.
Yeah. That should be fueling you. Like that kid was it San Diego State, that kid the other day who was like, if you don't come ready to work this summer, then you just don't love the game.
Yeah.
After the way they played the other day, I love to see that kind of energy.
That's exactly right. Boogie Fland, man, this is so fascinating. I'm definitely, I want you to grade him first here, but we haven't seen him for 15 games. It's been a couple months here. We didn't know what it was going to look like. What I will say, and then I'll pass it over to you, is I think I'll give John Calipari an A+ in how he deployed Boogie when he brought him in, how he utilized him, how he eased him into things, and I think because of that, Boogie was able to like shake off a little bit of rust and really settle in and be a huge impact player for Arkansas. That kind of goes beyond the box score and everything as they got into this game, as they settled into the game, and then obviously down the stretch he played a big role there. I'm really, really pleased with what we saw there because we can say whatever we want about it, and we've heard national media saying, oh, Arkansas is going to suck when they bring him back, and they were 0-5 with him, and that's like whatever. And we could say, oh, but like we know what they're going to do. Like it's not going to be like that. It's going to be different. We didn't really know, but now we've seen it, and I like this role for Boogie personally.
I like the way it's trending. Two things I got to say. One, we always have to do the obligatory. We grade based on context.
Yes.
So that's how you get a guy like Billy Richmond who has like 8 points or whatever, and he can get an A+ because he's graded on the context of being a freshman off the bench energy guy.
First game back curve.
And in this context, Boogie was in a kind of Billy Richmond type of role. I mean, he was the backup point guard. I think you mentioned Cal and his decision of kind of how to deploy him. You remember Cal said 10 to 15 minutes, and Boogie winds up playing 24. And obviously, we were never going to like hold Cal strictly to that. Oh, he played 18. Come on, you said 15. I don't really care. It's he can make those decisions. But I think it's telling that Boogie played 24 minutes because Cal made that decision. Mm-hmm. Cal, like you said, tested the waters, kind of put him out there, eased him into the action. And then you can get a feel for it. If it completely kills things and everyone's looking a little tense and Boogie dribbles it off his foot and he's scared to take a shot, okay, yeah, you take him out of the game. And then you just don't, you play Billy, you play Carter, you do whatever you got to do. He kind of set it out there, let him ease his way in. And I think he saw, I like the way that he puts pressure on this defense. I think he can help us in this matchup. And I think he did that. Obviously, the numbers, it's not like a Boogie Fland game. He's had many way better games for Arkansas this year. But given the context of what he was being asked to do, I think he did his job. Goes 0 for 4 from 3. Sure, make some shots.
I bet he makes one.
But again,
Saturday.
He went 2 for 7, and all 7 shot attempts I was cool with. Even the dunk that got where he got punched in the face and the foul was not called.
I love that.
Just was attacking the rim. I like the shots. And he played 24 minutes, so it's tough to really have a huge impact. 0 turnovers, 3 steals, 3 assists. That right there, that's winning basketball. Like that's a guy that helps you win. I thought he did a great job. So I'm giving Boogie Fland a B in his return to action.
I like it.
I can't go A when the guy goes 2 for 7, but it's like given the context, that was well above average. I'd be like A. Well above average in terms of kind of what we expected, because nobody expected Boogie to come in and like lead Arkansas in scoring. Like we even joked, we were like, if he believes him in scoring, that's probably a red flag.
Exactly.
So it's like we were not, we kind of knew what potentially this could be. Yeah. This was solid for me.
I had my heart set on a B+ for him, and so I'll stick with that. I love that like his first points wound up being at the free throw line. So it's like, no pressure.
2 for 2, by the way.
Yeah, you go up there and knock him down. That's good. The one of the buckets that he had was that downhill drive that he had there. It was, I think, his first made basket from the field, which is good to see. Wish he would have made a 3 or 2. There are only a couple times where I was like, what's going on here? Against the zone, he had a wide open catch and shoot look on the wing, and he passed it up, and then he got caught in the trap against the zone. It was like, don't overthink it, like shoot that, man. Like that's your shot to take.
The
for
zone
sure.
is in, you're supposed to shoot threes on the zone.
Yeah, exactly. But I got to tell you, man, what I was really impressed by was Arkansas. Like they had a double-digit lead like they always do, and then Kansas goes zone, and they come back, and all of a sudden Kansas is up 3, and they've got all the momentum, and you're like, man, like really, are they really going to do this right now? And Boogie was the spark that brought them back in the game because he got the steal. He went coast to coast in transition, layup, 1-point game, and then Arkansas was cooking the rest of the way. That was really cool to see him make that impact. I love that he tried to dunk on KJ Adams.
Yeah,
he hasn't tried to dunk on anybody all season. He tried to dunk on KJ Adams. It's like, yo, dude, I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm back, man. That was cool. He was getting on the floor for loose balls. One time it was KJ and Hunter Dickinson. They got sandwiched between, and he busted his ass. And I'm like, is he okay? And he got up, like he was showing toughness. He was diving for loose balls. Was not playing timid. The 3 steals, he's getting out in passing lanes, getting deflections. That's all good. And we talked about on the post-game show of like, when you miss so much time, even if you played with these guys and everything, you never really know how it's going to look. Like, this is different. I compare it to Nick Smith, who, like, in non-conference play and everything, you're like, oh, okay, well, you can work with this. You bring him back, and these guys have already played, a dozen games or whatever it was in SEC play, and it's different. Nick wasn't ready for that, and it didn't work, and it took a few games to get him going. And for Boogie, like, he played 5 SEC games or whatever. This is the NCAA tournament, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is do or die. There's so much pressure in this situation. He came in, and not only was he not a liability, he wound up being an asset for him. Shout out to Boogie for a game well played, man.
Another thing I'll say with him, when he was at the free throw line, I remember they showed him, and he was really like he was breathing through his mouth. Like, I don't even know if the dude is in game shape. Like, it's always one of those things where you can condition, you can run on the treadmill, but going out there and playing is just different. I think you're going to see a better version of him. One, because he's going to have a little bit. He broke out the rust a little bit, but also like he's just going to be playing basketball, playing 24 minutes. Right. That's good for him. Like he needed that. I think you're going to see a better, sharper version of him that's going to make a few jump shots, which he's been known to do.
Right. Yeah.
I've been told at least.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a while, but I mean that's what I've been told.
Yeah. Big Z, I mean, he played 4 minutes, so like we're not gonna grade Big Z tonight because there's nothing to. Yeah, like it was an incomplete. Wasn't very good when he was in there. Didn't get another look. Is what it is. I will say, the next, like, if Arkansas is going to unlock another level to this team, it's for Big Z and Jonas to play well in the same game for a change. Like nice. They're allergic to doing that. They need more for him. This was not a good matchup for him for whatever reason. Will St. John's be? I don't know. We'll see, but I'm not going to spend any time on that. Billy Richmond, though, I said it was kind of testing my theory of, man, you get a huge win like that, I'm never going to give anybody below a B. I'm sorry. Like I got to go C+ for Billy Richmond. And if I'm being honest, in my grade, it'd be a lot lower than that. He was not good for Arkansas in this game at all. And I don't understand why Cal just kept going back to him over and over and over again. He really struggled. Like the moment seemed too big for him in this game. You check into the game, first touch, you're shooting a 3. You're not a shooter. Like like
semi-contested.
Feel the basketball, dude. Like that's not your look. He tried to just a completely unnecessary. Tried to tip one in one-handed. Like just grab the offensive rebound, bro. Like what are we doing? Was missing some layups in there. Would miss a shot and then corral the ball and then turn it over. He's stepping out of bounds. Not closing out on Zeke Mayo. I thought it was one of the more poor games that Billy has played as a Razorback. I'm not trying to pile on him or be negative in a win or whatever, but he didn't play well. Yeah. And but they kept putting him in the damn game. He played 20 minutes. He played more than Carter, and I thought Carter was substantially better than he was in this game. They need more from him. They need him to settle in. He was the one guy John mentioned on Inside Arkansas Live, but like he was the one guy on Vibes Day Wednesday where we were kind of like, is he all right?
Yeah.
Like how's he feeling there? And I know he took the hard fall when KJ Adams like speared him, and he had the hot pack on his back the entire time, so he might not have been feeling very well. You're at the time of the year where you gotta have something from everybody. If you're gonna play 20 minutes, you gotta bring it, dude. And I just didn't feel like he did that in this basketball game. I was kind of unimpressed with what we saw from Billy, unfortunately, because he's been awesome for a lot of games this season.
So should I just not give like a real grade? Like I really should just kind of like
we curve it in a way.
We're here in
like,
Providence. We're having a great time, and like the grades really are just like the friends we made along the way.
That's
like
exactly right.
It's the
We're
grades
really just
are
trying to talk about every player,
the grades are just a point of view. But I say all that to say, Billy Richmond, I agree with your assessment, was not good in this game. The one thing about Billy, you can never the effort's always there. Like that's then a common theme is we kind of know he's going to bring that juice, he's going to bring that energy, and he obviously, like you said, didn't have it at Vibes Day. I think Billy wanted to make plays. Like clearly, he wanted to kind of make that. He wanted to be that Devo guy. Wanted to be the guy that kind of swings the tide for Arkansas. Like you said, the first three he took, I thought was borderline inexcusable. It was kind of like it was like a pretty that's the type of three that like a really good shooter. You kind of live with it, but you're really not crazy about it. Like a tough footwork three. And I'm like, dude, like and the guy closed out on him. I'm like, I don't know. He had another one where they go under on a screen, kind of daring him to shoot. He falls for it, takes the three.
There's a
reason. Missed it bad. Took another pull up 2 jumper and immediately kind of like hung his head. And which, the bad body language, we really have not seen much out of him. Who knew? You never really know. Like you said, could be injury, could be just, maybe he just wasn't feeling well. Could
frustrated
be,
with himself.
He got the Aidoo Thero stomach bug. I don't know. You just never know. But I agree. Like it just wasn't a great day for Billy Richmond, and I have no doubt that he's going to come out looking to reverse. Like he's not going to be happy about this. If we know anything about this kid, he's going to be fired up about it. He's going to want to get back on track and help this team, and we'll see if he can do it. He's very, very capable. There's no doubt about that. He's the type of energy guy that can win you a close game, and he's been a huge integral part in a lot of these close wins. And so we'll see if they get the better version of him. But there's a reason why it's hard to build a team around freshmen for March Madness, because a lot of times this happens. Even freshmen that are leading scorers for their team, like Moses Moody, stinking March Madness. It's hard to play well in this environment, like you said, which is why we give so much credit to Boogie for just kind of doing a little bit to help Arkansas. And we'll see if Billy can do that. But I got to be honest, Carter was much better than him, but I felt like Arkansas's freshman kind of sat this one out a little bit.
Yeah, and they against a team like St. John's that's just tough and hard-nosed and physical and fearless, and they got that New York swagger to them. They need Billy. They need good Billy in that game because he can kind of match that energy.
The Billy that showed up on Thanksgiving Day. You remember when Illinois was just punching Arkansas in the mouth? And Billy just comes out there and makes 6 really good plays in a row, just hustling, beating dudes to the punch. That's the Billy that we know is in there. It wouldn't stun me at all. He seems like the kind of guy, and maybe that's what it was. We all kind of assumed this was the environment that Billy would thrive in. Yeah. And so maybe it just was too much pressure. I don't know, but I have no doubt he's gonna be fine.
We're gonna go from downhill Bill to bounce back Bill.
For sure.
Is what we're looking at for Saturday against St. John's.
This dude is I'm not worried about it. Yeah, he is good for it.
Not his night, but
I'm not saying he's going to be knocking down shots or anything, but he's going to help Arkansas in a positive way moving forward. I feel pretty good about that.
I'm with you on that. Well, all right, folks, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate everybody for tapping in with us as always. The journey continues, and it's going to continue with which, honestly, I'm just assuming it's St. John because as we're recording. But yeah, it was close at halftime. They pulled away. John Calipari versus Rick Pitino. Cinema. So make sure you get subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel. We got so much going on. There's going to be more locker room interviews and footage from there. We're going to be back at Snookers for Inside Arkansas live on what's today? Friday. We're going to be out there. More Pot the Palace action. We're going to have you covered there. And then obviously, don't forget about baseball. Okay, we got the baseball guy right here. He's got the preview out for the South Carolina series over at the Bombastic Podcast. We're going to be keeping tabs on that and keeping you guys covered there as well. So for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod the Palace, guys, have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. Woo Pig.